So, a while back, I made a video about what Windows 11 stores on your machine. Hidden logs, activity files, things running in the background you never asked for. And the comments kept asking the same question. Okay, but what is it actually sending out? Like, what leaves your computer and goes to Microsoft? And I realized I'd never actually sat down and captured that properly. I'd covered the files, I'd covered the settings, but I'd never just watched the traffic in real time and documented exactly what happens. So, that's what this is. I did a completely fresh install of Windows 11, latest version, nothing touched, nothing configured, set up a network monitor before anything else so it was running from the moment the OS was live, and then I just signed into a Microsoft account and watched. No apps opened, no browser, no setup changes. I didn't even move the mouse for the first few seconds. I just wanted to see what Windows decides to do on its own the moment it knows who you are.
And I want to be clear about something before I show you the results. I went into this genuinely not knowing what I'd find. I had guesses. Anyone who's spent time digging into Windows privacy has guesses. But there's a difference between assuming something is happening and actually watching it happen with timestamps and IP addresses on screen. Some of what came back I expected, some of it I didn't. There's one process in here that connected to Microsoft servers before I touched a single thing on the desktop. And it's not OneDrive, it's not the browser, it's something most people would never think to question. I'm going to show you everything. The raw log, what each connection actually is, and what it means in plain terms. And at the end, I'm going to tell you what I think the next experiment needs to be, because this one raised more questions than it answered. All right, fresh install, network monitor running. Here's what happened.
The results are on screen right now, and I want to walk through them because some of this genuinely surprised me even after everything I've covered on this channel. So the monitoring starts at 05:33:12. That's the moment I signed in. And within 4 seconds, there are already 10 separate connections going out. I hadn't opened a single app, hadn't clicked anything, just signed in. Let me show you the ones that stood out. First one. SVChost, that's the Windows search bar. It connected to a Microsoft IP immediately. I didn't search for anything, didn't click the search bar, it just connected on its own before I touched it. Then look at this one, StartMenuExperienceHost. 2 separate connections. Your start menu made 2 network calls the moment your account was recognized. Think about that for a second. You sign in and your start menu is already talking to Microsoft servers. You haven't clicked it, you haven't opened it. It's just there in the corner doing its thing quietly. OneDrive is 3 connections in the first 14 seconds. Now, I know what some people will say. OneDrive syncs your files. That makes sense. But I didn't open OneDrive, didn't click it, didn't ask it to do anything. It activated the moment my account was detected and started reaching out before I made a single decision about my files.
This one is the one I want you to look at carefully. File Co-auth. That stands for File Collaboration Authentication. It kicked in at 05:33:49. That's the service that prepares your files for cloud collaboration. It was already running and already connecting before I opened a single folder. And then there's SVChost, 3 connections. Now, SVChost is Windows itself, not an app, not something you installed, the operating system making calls on its own. No labels, no prompts, just background connections going out. System settings connected too, the Settings app. I didn't open Settings, it just phoned home anyway. So the total, 16 connections in 60 seconds before I opened anything.
All of this is on port 443, which means it's encrypted, HTTPS, so I can see where it's going, but not the exact contents of what's being sent. I want to be upfront about that because I'm not going to claim I know exactly what's in those packets. What I can tell you is where your computer is choosing to connect the moment you hand it your Microsoft account. And it's not nowhere. Now look, some of this has legitimate explanations. OneDrive syncing, search indexing, settings loading. I'm not saying Microsoft is doing something illegal here. What I am saying is that most people have no idea this is happening. They sign in and they assume nothing starts until they started. That's just not true. The question I keep coming back to is, what would this look like on a local account? Same machine, same setup, no Microsoft account. Would SVChost still connect? Would the start menu still phone home? That's the next experiment. If you want me to run that comparison, drop it in the comments. If enough people want to see it, I'll do it next.